Welcome back. So holding on to that 18,000 mark, though the benchmark indices are down about 0.6 of a percentage point. The Nifty lower by 120 points. The Sensex down nearly 400 points. Rishi Kohli, CIO, Hedge Fund Strategies at InCred Alternatives, is now joining us on the show. Rishi, morning. Rima here. Thank you very much for joining us and making your appearance on CNBC TV18 after a very long time. You're just in the process of launching your fund. You have a hedge fund strategy. Can you walk us through the approach that you're going to be taking when you deploy that money? What is the opportunity that you see in the Indian markets right now?
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so the first fund that we'll be launching in a couple of months is more focused on market neutral and low risk consistent return strategies. Basically, over the last year or so, in various other media interactions, I have been saying that this year, markets would not be easy, and they would not be fully directional on either side, and there would be more opportunities for market neutral strategies. It's largely been playing out that way. I think over the next 6 to 12 months also, there will be a good scope for market neutral strategies, which basically means that you are going long futures and short futures, maybe stock versus stock or Nifty stock versus Nifty, and therefore getting some relative alpha on the futures side. And similar strategies on the option side also, you can have low risk strategies and get returns. So I think it's a great environment for these kind of strategies and to get low risk, low net exposure based returns. So that's what the fund will focus on. Having said that, of course, markets from a short term perspective have been difficult. From a medium to long term perspective, still look bullish broadly.
Sure. Rishi, hi, good afternoon. I was going through your the list of preferred sectors, and within that, PSU Banks tops the list. Now, there's been such a big rally already. Do you think it's still just a trading move here? And what is the recommendation for viewers watching you right now?
So I think, their PSU Banks are coming out of a 10-year sort of bear market, right? And have done well over the last year, largely. So I think there's a lot of scope. It's sort of a secular move. A lot of the cleanup has happened from a fundamental perspective and from a technical and cycle perspective. Like I said, they're coming out of a 10-year bear market. And when that happens, then typically the sectors will be in flavor for the next 3 to 5 years. So that's the very long-term view. From a short-term perspective, yes, in the very near term, over the last month or two, some of the stocks have rallied hugely. So I think they're due for a halt now. But as they halt or as they retrace some of those gains, I think it will be a good time to enter again for that next 3 to 5 year story that I'm talking about.
All right. Hi, Rishi. Good morning. This is Pavitra. Another space that you like is the IT sector, and it's amongst your top sectoral picks as well. Do you think much of the pain in these stocks is already in, and now we're going to see some kind of a turnaround going forward? I know, in the past couple of days, of course, they have rallied post their earnings, but do you think it's all upwards from here?
So that is more of a short-term sort of view. Okay. Honestly, we run a very interesting sector rotation model where we pick 4 sectors, every month, and we bet that that could outperform the Nifty. And on a consistent basis, that average of 4 sectors has been doing that. So within that, IT had come up for this month. But having said that, these are monthly rebalancing sort of quant strategies. So it could very well exit the next month, for all you know. So there's no big medium-term secular view that is emerging there. I think the worst of the decline has happened for sure. It also corroborates well with the overall way the US markets and the NASDAQ has moved as well. But I think their best period has gone by. And therefore, sectors like banks, autos, etc., I think from a medium to long-term perspective will continue to outperform IT, which remains a short-term bet for now.
What about metals? What's driving your optimism on metals? Is it the fact that we've seen a sharp decline in the dollar index and you think the dollar index is going to be lower? What's the call?
Yeah, broadly, the dollar index definitely seems to have peaked out for now. I'm sure there'll be some volatility here and there because after such large moves in the currency, they don't just head the opposite direction in a very smooth manner. So expect some volatility. But having said that, yes, the dollar index seems to have peaked out. A lot of these metals globally, also on the commodities side, have had sharp declines and have found good supports now. So I don't think they'll have much sharper declines from here on. And from a sector perspective or stock perspective in India, a lot of these have, again, similar to PSU Banks, broken out of very long-term channels and cycles. And typically, that sort of becomes a medium-term secular story for the next couple of years, as I was saying earlier. So something very similar would happen in the metals, according to us. Of course, very volatile sector, but typically we consider it a cyclical. But something seems to have changed. Obviously, I'm not a fundamental expert, but putting all of this together, again, it's come up for the short term as a short-term bet, but it keeps coming every few months. So it also sort of corroborates the medium-term bullish view on it.
Okay, the other space is autos. It's also coming out of a long bear phase, right? At least a decade or so. But now, do you think there's a structural up move here? I'm asking because fundamentally, a lot of things are still awry. If you look at names like Tata Motors, I mean, there's so many challenges in the global markets. What do you do at a time like this?
Yeah, so again, broadly speaking, from a long-term cycle perspective and long-term quant perspective, things that have not done well 5-10 years and then are coming out of it, but giving very strong momentum signals, very strong breakouts from those very long-term channels. All of that combined makes them sort of the best bets for the next few years. There's a lot of data that we've crunched locally, globally as well, which sort of confirms those kind of factors. So on the basis of that, again, autos came up a few months back, since then have done very strongly, but it seems to be more of a 3 to 5 year play. Of course, there'll be pockets of over and under performance, and different sub-segments within the sector will do better or worse. But overall, the sector will do well. And I think, four-wheelers overall are, relatively looking better. Some of the auto components are looking better. Two-wheelers are a bit mixed as of now. But overall, the sector, yes, is among the top ones.
All right. Overall, the sector is amongst the top ones. Rishi, thanks a lot for joining us. We're going to leave it at that today, but we hope to have you back on the show soon and we can discuss some more ideas as well. With that, let's move on and talk about a corporate. Godrej Properties reported its Q2 numbers with a decline in sales bookings and volumes on both the